right, so today we are going to be taking a look at Unit 3, Lesson 4, Shapes and Parameters. So we learned some very basic things about how to generate basically ellipses and squares or rectangles yesterday. Actually, it was pretty much just squares yesterday. And so today we're going to continue that work. So Lesson 4, bubble number 1. And I'm going to have to reset my work because I had worked through this first semester with my class. So just give me a moment. I'm just going to just hit it. I'm going to go back to start over. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we are taking a look at how to change the size of our rectangles. Whenever you change something, in a shape, we call that a parameter. So that's just like a number or something that is controlling how that object renders on the screen. Now, for me personally, whenever I got something in the chat. Yep, I will make it bigger in a minute. I just haven't done anything yet. For me personally, when I am working in WebLab, I always like to make sure that I click the show grid. That is my personal choice. All right, so what are the directions? It says look at the code and try to figure out how the last two inputs in RECT work. Change the numbers in the second rectangle to make the red rectangle longer than the blue one. So if I hit run on this, right now, my red rectangle is not as long as my blue rectangle. My red rectangle is actually shorter. So we already know that when we generate a rectangle, the first two parameters are my XY coordinates. So it tells me where I am placing the top left-hand corner of that object. And then in the directions, it specifically told me to change the numbers for the second rectangle to make the red rectangle longer. Okay, so I know the 250 is my X position. I know the 100 is my Y position. So I'm guessing these two, the 100 and the 150, the second two, have something to do with length. I'm not sure, but I'm going to play with it. So I'm going to change 100. If I want it to be longer, obviously I want this number to be bigger. So I'm going to go ahead and change that to a 200. Reset and run. Okay, so what happened? It didn't get any longer. What happened to it? It got what?
It got thicker, wider.
It got wider. So this first parameter must be for width. So I'm going to take that back to the 100 that I think it started with. So that's not going to help. So I'm going to put that back to the 100. That's what I started with. And I am going to change this next number. So if I have X is my first parameter, Y is the second parameter, width is the third parameter. I'm going to guess that that last parameter is my length. So I'm going to change it from 150. Let's change this.
250?
We can change it to 250. That'll be fine. And I'm going to go ahead and hit reset and run. And now we can see that it is indeed longer, just like in the sample picture. So one more time, in my parameters, after the word rectangle or rect, my first parameter is my X position. My second parameter is my Y position. My third parameter is my width. And each one of these boxes in the grid is 50, just so that you guys are aware of that. And then my last parameter is my length. So once you have the red rectangle longer than the blue rectangle, go ahead and hit finish and continue. And as always, my computer is running super slow. So I'm going to, once again, I have to hit start over. You guys probably don't have to hit start over, but like I said, this is just my teacher account. So I did teach the same exact class last semester, so things are done. All right, so it says write code that makes the orange ellipse behind a green one. Don't worry about the exact size as long as the green ellipse is entirely inside the orange one. All right, cool. So I'm going to make my workspace, my preview area a little bit bigger. I'm going to go ahead and run. All right, so, and I'm going to turn on my grid. So I just have a green ellipse. I need to add an orange ellipse. And again, it doesn't have to be exactly the same size. It just needs to be inside the orange ellipse. So I know I need orange, so I'm going to go ahead and bring over a new fill. I know I need another ellipse, so I am going to go ahead and bring in a new ellipse. And I'm going to change this to, orange isn't a choice. So I'm just going to highlight the word yellow, and I am going to type in the word orange. Hopefully that works. Okay, what's the problem? Why can't I see my green one anymore? What did we learn yesterday, guys? Anybody?
Correct. Don't you have to reposition the bars and stuff? Like if you want, say if you want the green one in front of the orange one, you would have to put the orange one on top of the green one, right?
Exactly. It's like layers, right? So, like the bottom layer of code, and the bottom layer is always line number one. The bottom layer happens first, and then layer two happens, and then layer three. This is all layers. So, if I want my green on top of my orange, then that means that my green ellipse has to come after the orange ellipse. So, all I did was grab the green fill and the green ellipse, and I just dragged them to the bottom of the code. That's it. That's all I did. Because again, this is all happening in layers. The program reads line one first and does that. Then it reads line two. Then it reads line three. So we have to be very conscious of the order of things when we're working in JavaScript. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and hit reset, and I'm going to hit run. And there it is. Now, does it look like the picture? No, but remember, it says don't worry about the exact size as long as the green ellipse fits inside the orange one. I have done that. I have done what they've asked. Ding, ding, ding. Check, check, check. I am now ready to move on. Questions before I do? All right, moving on. All right, again, I have to just go back to my original version. So I'm going to start over. And like I said, you guys don't have to do that start over thing. Because I taught this class last semester. Okay, it says do background. Sometimes you'll want to fill the entire screen with color. For that, you can use the background command, and it will cover everything on the screen that you see with the color that you choose. Run the code to see how background works. I got somebody in the waiting room. There we go. Run the code to see how background works. Change the background from yellow to orange. Okay. And then it says challenge. There is a purple square that is covered up by the background. Can you change the order of the code so you can see both purple and blue squares? Okay, let's see. So if I go ahead and run this, so now what I can see is my whole grid is covered by a yellow background. Awesome. So it says change the background from yellow to orange. That's easy. All I got to do is highlight the word yellow in the command for background and type in the word orange. I'm going to reset it and run it again, and shabam bam, I am now an orange background. So cool. All right, now let's see about the challenge. It says there is also, if I look at my code, if I look at lines 1 and 2 of my code, there's also this purple rectangle there, but I don't see the purple rectangle at all. Can somebody tell me why I don't see the purple rectangle?
Because it's covered up by the background.
Because it's covered up by the background. This goes back thank you. Good job. This goes back to the order of things. The program always runs line 1 and then line 2. So the purple square is there. it's just covered up by line 3, the orange background. So somebody give me a suggestion as to what to do to get my purple square to show up.
You have to move it down. You have to move it below the
Okay,
background.
so where should I move my background to?
Well, yeah, okay. You can move the background above the purple square,
Okay,
or you can move the purple square below the background.
perfect. So either one would work. I can move line 3 all the way up, or at the same time, if you wanted to, you can move lines 1 and 2 down below the background. Either one, you're going to get the same result, by the way. So whichever one's easier for you. I'm going to go ahead and take these guys. I'm going to cut them and paste them. And yes, you can cut and paste these blocks. So that does work. Okay, or not. I know I can do it in text. There we go. If you want to do cutting and pasting, if you go to show text, it's a lot easier to do. And that sometimes is a little easier than dragging those blocks. So now you can see my background is first and my purple square is last. So if I hit reset and run, shabam, there it is. I got a purple square, I got a blue square, and a lovely orange background. Issues or questions? All right, bubble number 4, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I have to start over. Okay, it says background. You will draw on top of everything already in your drawing, so it's important to think about the order of your code. Use background to make a black background behind the green circle. All right, cool beans. Oh, my internet apparently is unstable. Sorry about that. So this is what I'm trying to make. I'm going to go ahead and hit run. So right now, all I see is a green circle. That's awesome. But I need to add a black background. So again, I'm going to go into my toolbox. I am going to grab the background code. I'm going to drag that in, and I am going to change this to black. All right. Turn my grid on. I don't know if that matters. Okay, reset and run. All right, who can tell me my problem? I mean,
Okay, so the problem is you put the green circle above the background, so it's the the background is now covering up the green circle.
perfect. So what do I do about it?
You have to move the background up,
So I'll
or
move the background there.
no. You have to move the background above the green.
There it is. Perfect. Okay. So once I fix my code, remember, order matters. I'm going to go ahead and hit reset. I'm going to hit run. And there it is. Perfection. All right. So once you have that, go ahead and make sure you hit finish and continue. All right. So again, I am going to go to start over. You probably don't have to do that. All right, so there's something that I want to point out here in the code. You have these gray boxes, and these are just comments. As our code, as our drawings get a little more complicated, you may want to use comments so that you know what the stuff is supposed to be doing. It does not change the drawing at all. It's literally just like making a note to yourself. So if you're one of those people that likes to annotate as you read, highlight things as you read, think of this gray comment box as kind of like a little highlighter to remind you of what that code is supposed to be doing. So we can see here that this line 2 is basically the sky. Lines 5 and 6 is drawing the sun, and line 8 is basically the drawing of the grass, which is fine. But I just want to point that out because we haven't explicitly talked about it. All right, it says debug the program and correct the error so that the grass extends across the entire bottom, like in the picture. Hint, you only have to change one number. What parameter makes your rectangle wider? Okay, so let's see what's actually going on. I'm going to turn my grid on, and I'm I'm going to go ahead and hit run. And I can see this sort of looks like a cliff, and I don't want a cliff because that's not very nice. Like, let's not fall off cliffs. I want the grass to go all the way across. So we did this earlier. Again, I need to fix the grass. So I don't need to mess with the background. I don't need to mess with the sun. I need to come down here to my rectangle. So my rectangle, we know that the first parameter is my X position. The second parameter is my Y position. And I don't really remember which one is my width. I think it was the first one.
It's the
So
third one.
So I need to know what to change this to. I want it to go all the way across. So I'm going to take my mouse and I'm going to touch where I want it is pretty much at 400. So I'm going to change this to 400. In the third position, I'm going to go ahead and hit reset and run. And there it is. My grass now extends all the way across the image. All right. Issues or questions? All right, fantastic. So, ladies and gentlemen, now it is time for you to get your work done. We have, oh, I can make this smaller now because you don't need to see my code. Bubble 6, we have A, B, and C. You are going to debug, and then finish a scene. Bubble 7, you are going to debug the program. So you're going to have to change some parameters to make it look like the image that you see above. Okay? And then let's see if there's anything in challenges that you'll have to do. I don't think there is, but I just want to make sure. I think we're good. You may want to play with these, but there's nothing here that you have to do. All right, so one more time for bubble 6, you're going to finish off A, B, and C. On bubble 7, you are going to complete the scene. So you're going to have to add some code and debug some code so that your picture ends up looking like this. And that's about it. So as always, if you guys have issues or questions, please ask. But I am going to stop the video at this point, and when it renders, I will be able to share it to the assignment.